When I was 5 years old, I was invited to be the ring bearer in my cousin's wedding. I only have 2 core memories from that day, and I think you're not here to listen to a TED Talk about how I ate French fries in a limousine. So I'll try to talk about the other memory instead, which is I had the opportunity to give the flower girl her corsage. And so if you can picture a wildly cuter version of me, no matter how difficult that is to do, I'm in my tuxedo, I have no clue what's going on, and my aunt approaches me. She's got this pretty white flowery bracelet thing, and so if you know any 5-year-old boys, you know most of them probably aren't that intrigued by that gift. She informed me I could give it to Cassandra, though, the flower girl. So Cassandra and I had only just met. We weren't best friends, we didn't have history, but we did have a job to do. We had to hold hands and walk down the aisle together. Really quite a daunting task for a couple of 5-year-olds. After building up a bit of courage and receiving a bit of coaxing from my family and friends, I opened up this little box, I handed her the flowers. It wasn't until I gave her the flowers, though, that I realized how that made me feel. I felt really good. The feeling was something special. I gave her flowers. I didn't receive anything. Why was I living on cloud 9? Well, according to Stephen Post, the director of the Center for Medical Humanities at Stony Brook University, giving her those flowers might have released chemicals like dopamine and endorphins that give you a sense of euphoria, or oxytocin, which is associated with tranquility and serenity. That's an excellent explanation, but I like Dr. Post's other way to describe this, which is he calls it helper's high. And that feeling of helper's high really stuck with me for a long time. So now fast forward, 5 years later, I found myself getting ready to go to my aunt's funeral. Tragically, she was taken from us way too early, and as a 10-year-old, even I could understand and feel the pain that my family was going through. I wanted to help my family feel better, and selfishly, I just wanted to feel better too. But mostly, I wanted to help my grandma feel better. So what did I do? I asked my mom if we could get grandma flowers for the funeral. She went on to inform me that there would be lots of flowers at the funeral already, and that they would be very beautiful. But that information was not going to allow me my helper's high. And so, of course, what do you do as a 10-year-old? You argue. Well, what kind of flowers are they going to have? To which the response was, well, all of my aunt's favorite flowers. Of course, I replied snarkily, how will that make grandma feel any better? She likes lilies. Now, seeing the losing battle that my mom was obviously fighting, she begrudgingly agreed we could stop by the store on the way to get a lily. Now, the flowers at this funeral were beautiful, and in fact, the whole experience brought family and friends together to really honor the life of someone very special. But again, I only have 2 core memories from that day. And considering that riding on a Harley-Davidson motorcycle for the first time is not in line with the theme today, I'm gonna stick with the other memory, which was a really special moment for me, a moment where I gave my grandma that lily. And in that moment, a church full of people on a chaotic and absolutely stressful day became just my grandma and I for a brief second. The flowers did not change that we were both sad, and they did not bring back our loved one. But they were an indication to her that I understood and I knew that she needed support, and in my own small way, I may have done something for her on that day that very few adults in my family were able to do. I made her smile. She gave me the biggest hug, and spoiler alert, I felt better too. Unfortunately, it's been a couple years since I was 10, and fortunately though, giving flowers and the way that it makes me feel has really never gone away. So my final story to share with you happened last week. Last week, my partner came home to find some of her favorite flowers sitting on the dining room table. You'd think because it was just last week, I'd maybe have a better recollection, but I still seem to maybe just remember things in twos. So I've got 2 memories from this. The first one was really, I remember when she saw the flowers, and if that didn't make me kind of feel good enough just to see the way she felt, I also got a nice hug too. But also, the second memory, a bit more vivid, she shared with me that she had really had actually a rough day that day, and that there were some other challenging items that were on her mind. She said she really needed something to pick her up, and she said, thank you for being there for me. Now at this point, you're wondering to yourself, is this an advertisement for the flower shop that I own down the street? It's not. I'll actually get to the point here, I promise. So let's connect some dots. In the world we live in today, very few things are actually accomplished without partnership. Whether you are a 5-year-old that needs another 5-year-old to hold your hand and walk down the aisle, or maybe you need to find a business partner for an entrepreneurial venture, or everything in between, we must regularly step out of our comfort zones to build something out of nothing. And throughout our lives, many people attempt to make us smile or feel better. Like they tell us jokes, they give us gifts, they try hard to support us. But the times that we really feel connected, delighted, and cared for are when we feel that people have listened to us and understand us. Whether you receive your favorite flower as you're mourning a loss, or you're provided with a business opportunity that aligns perfectly with your mission, it's in those moments you recognize the giver gets you. And at times, we can be attempting to run our lives on an empty tank. It may not be obvious for others to see, and it may not be something that we really openly share, but we all have rough days at home and in our personal lives. Our businesses struggle to compete and grow, but in those moments, we most need our partner's support. For those who engage us in those quietly difficult times, we're forever grateful and forever committed. I had no history with Cassandra the flower girl, but we made it down that aisle thanks to a corsage. Flowers were everywhere at the funeral, but a lily helped my grandma make it through a nearly unbearable day. And I'd like to think that the flowers on my kitchen table at home right now have at least a little something to do with why I have maybe one person out in the audience who's listening right now. So when I explore the idea of building partnership in my life, whether it be in my personal life or for work purposes, I think about flowers. I think about how can I bring that future business partner flowers? Can I send them a referral customer? Could I connect them with a potential supplier? Maybe I can introduce them to a connection who might be their next great employee. We aren't partnering together yet, but by introducing myself with flowers, I really start off our future partnership on a high note. Now, if I haven't lost you yet on this adventure, let me try this one on. Do I know what my partner's favorite flower is? Have I been listening enough to their needs? Do I know the pain points in their business? Do I understand when they're on their highest high and at their lowest low so that I can ensure that I'm going to be there for them? In this instance, we have partnered together, and for our partnership to flourish, I need to understand what I can do to support and add value to this partnership. All right, thanks for sticking with me. We're almost here. Let's bring it home. Do my partners have flowers waiting for them when they come home? What does this mean? By that, what I'm really talking about is, do I carve out time for them? And not just time to meet, but do I carve out time in my mind, and do I take action? Do I carve out time in my mind? When I see opportunities that could benefit them, do I make the connection? When I see challenges approaching, do I make them aware? What am I doing day in and day out to really help them know that I'm committed to our partnership? If you can remember the corsage, the lily, and the flowers on the kitchen table, you understand the process to build a partnership, to engage, understand, and commit. Engage, understand, and commit. And as much as I'd like to say that it's as simple as remembering those 3 steps, there's a little bit of a challenge that comes with them. It might be quite easy to give people flowers, actually. The transaction's done. Maybe you even felt good. And so if you want to run around giving everyone flowers after this talk, let me know and I'll provide a good recommendation of a florist. But if you're actually interested in building meaningful and lasting partnerships, we need to put together all of these stories. I can give flowers to many people, but I do not have the time to learn more about every one of those people. How will I know what their favorite flowers are so that the next time I give them flowers, I can really delight them? So now we watch this large top of our sort of funnel of all these potential partners in our lives start to dwindle. Do you have time to learn about what their favorite flower is? Are you able to find their favorite flower? Do they appreciate it when you give them the flowers? As we layer on each story, there inevitably become fewer partners to give flowers to, and this is an important lesson for us all to understand. If I start off my week giving out a dozen roses to potential partners, next week I may only be giving out flowers of their liking to 5 of them. And I may only be able to commit to giving flowers regularly to 1 of them. Meaningful, lasting relationships take engagement, understanding, and commitment. So what have we learned? This intentional process might be simple to remember, but maybe challenging to pursue. Why do it? to grow new personal friendships, to gain new customers, to build a network, to find a job opportunity, to step out of our comfort zone, to build something out of nothing. And if you don't like any of those answers, I left one aspect out. The whole reason I realized I like giving people flowers in the first place, to feel good. So, one question, who will you be giving flowers to today?